Here's a legitimate question that I have for you guys. Why did the Nazis burn books? Why did they do it? Think about it. Is it because they wanted to add drama? When you take a picture and you see a pile of burning books, is it more dramatic? Is that why they do it? For the atmosphere? I'll tell you why the Nazis burned books. It's because they didn't want the information in that book to go to other people. And back then, books were the ways that information traveled. So by burning the book, you're doing two things. Number one, you're sending a message that writing similar books is not acceptable. People who write that type of books are going to be persecuted. And number two, you're trying to get rid of the information, not by talking with people, not by educating people that the information is bad. No, by simply saying it's not allowed. We don't allow this in our society. And burning books is considered to be evil. Now, today we don't use books. I mean, sure, maybe some people that are weird, they still use books. But today most people use the internet. Today most people get access to information from the internet. So when you have moral busybodies that are saying, this should be canceled, this shouldn't exist, we should remove this, we should remove that, Dr. Seuss is problematic, Gone with the Wind is racist, Futurama is transphobic, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective is transphobic. When they're doing this, what they are saying is that they want to burn the books. And it's kind of funny because the reason the Nazis burned the books is because the first books that they burned were offensive. So the first books that the Nazis burned were about pornography, and they were also about, funnily enough, university professors that were writing about transgenderism. So that's the first books that they burned. But after that, they started burning more books. So they expanded. Then they expanded to communist literature. And then they expanded to works that weren't patriotic enough. And then they expanded to liberal literature, so on and so forth. It was like an entire list of things that people are accepted and aren't accepted to read. Because the thing that these authoritarians have in common is that they want to control your brain. They think that you are a child, that you are incapable of judging things for yourself. And they want to act like a condom that positions themselves between the information and your brain. So they want to protect your mind. So that your mind can only be filled with their ideology and nothing from the outside that can contradict the ideology, because then you might think for yourself and you may arrive to bad decisions. So that is what authoritarians do. And in this case, what I see is that Futurama is considered transphobic because a couple of chuckleheads on the Twitter are upset about the joke. You see, there's this episode in Futurama where the robot pretends to be a woman so he can go into the Olympics. Now, they don't elaborate why this is transphobic. I mean, to me, it seems that it mocks the legislator for not taking into account that a dishonest person who isn't transgender can pretend to be a woman just so that they can compete in the Women Olympics. So it's got nothing to do with transgenderism. It just has to do with the fact that the lawmaker didn't find a way to separate the actual trans people from the dishonest people. But apparently it's transphobic. So transphobic means they don't really have to explain why it's transphobic. They just say you need to cancel it. And you need to cancel it because it's a joke. It's humorous. Do you know who are the people that want to cancel jokes? It's the people who want you to be afraid. Right? So if you have an ideology that goes after comedians, that goes after humor, then what they are saying is that you shouldn't mock us. You should take us seriously and you should be afraid of us. People who are laughing can't be afraid. People who ridicule do not feel afraid. Why do they want you to be afraid? Because, well, when people are afraid, they're more easy to control. And when people are afraid, they're not going to challenge you. It's what cults do. It's what happens in Scientology. It's pretty much what's happening on Twitter. Right? Like that's the whole purpose. It's like so you don't speak out against a group of people who are putting ideas that are easy to contradict. Religious people used to do the same. I mean, it's very easy to contradict religious people, but why was no one doing it? Because they were afraid of them. It's very easy to contradict communist or Nazi ideology, but why did no one do it? It's because they were afraid of them. So by maintaining fear, by maintaining a culture of fear, they can actually push whatever ideology they want, regardless if it makes sense or not. And that's why they go after comedians. Any ideology that goes after joke, art, and comedians is problematic. So you have this outlet which is pointing out that there's a couple of people on Twitter, and the title is that it leaves a sour taste in Disney's Plus viewers. I love how the word manipulation works. So if you're against a progressive cartoon, for example, if you don't like Cowboy Bebop, they're going to say that it's a bunch of trolls, it's a bunch of racists, right? Even though it can be an overwhelming amount of people that do not agree with that particular art style, they will say, well, it's about a couple of trolls, a bunch of racists. But when it's literally a very vocal minority, like people that are less than 100 people, oh, now it's the fans. Now it's a sour taste in the fans' mouth. I am willing to bet, like I'm willing to put $1,000 on the line right now and bet that if you were to make a survey on the number of people who watch Futurama, how many have a sour taste in their mouth because of this joke versus how many don't, I mean, it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be astonishing, isn't it? Like, I don't think even 90, like even 10% of people are going to find this episode problematic. And, you know, like, I don't think that the actual people complaining on Twitter find the episode actually problematic. But in a society where you gain attention if you complain and you whine, well, a lot of people complain and whine. It's like a child. If a child notices that every time he cries, he's going to get attention, then he's going to cry from things that aren't cry-worthy. They're going to cry all the time because they notice they cause a reaction with the parent. So even if they don't get hurt, even if it's not a big deal, and maybe they just want something, they're just going to start crying because that's what gives them attention. So this is the type of culture that you have on Twitter, which is encouraged by mainstream media publications to continue. So, I mean, I don't know if Disney is going to do something, but honestly, if Disney does something, I have very little respect for the mouse at this point. But if it's going to show that it's so easy to bully the mouse, I'm going to become transgender. I mean, if I can bully a multi-billion, or is it trillion at this point? If I can bully one of the most powerful corporations in the world with 9 other people on the Twitter, I mean, I'm definitely going to become trans. I'm going to identify as non-binary, and I'm going to start bullying corporations because it makes me feel like I have a big cock, unironically. Like if you can just go from your bedroom and do the click-clack on the keyboard, and multi-billion-dollar entities are like, oh, please, we're so sorry, please, no more, just stop it. Then, you know, I want to do that. Why would I miss out on the action? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.